Hello friends, I'm Dr. William Gorton, founding artistic director of the Greater Philadelphia Choral Society. This is the second installment in our series, Moments with the Maestro. I thought tonight that I would share with you a few of my understandings about singing. There are so many misconceptions about singing out there. Far more rare is to find the singer who actually produces their voice naturally without trying to manipulate it into a particular sound or what have you. Most of the time, more people are actually informed by their choral experience because most folks don't sing solos, but there are also many teachers, in fact I would say the vast majority of teachers, who basically work in a manipulative way to try to produce a certain sound or, in fact, do the impossible, which is teach a student how to sing. We have this notion that we can figure out how to sing, but I might ask the question, how do you catch a ball? How does your heart pump? How does your liver process enzymes? How does anything happen? What would you say to describe it? The fact is that any attempt to micromanage the voice is going to result in tension and limited production of sound, range, and flexibility. So this is what I experience every day as I teach here in the studio. Folks coming in who have been carrying the burden that they need to figure out how to sing and that they have to do all these histrionics about breath, breathing, placement, you name it, support, in order to sound proper or to sing well. And of course, any such attempt, as I said, is doomed because it just produces tension that actually prevents the very thing that they're trying to accomplish. So, in the end, what we do with singing that I think is clear and right is we disabuse ourselves of all these notions that we have to do something physical that's extraordinary or unusual in order to sing well, or that we have to create our sound in some way. We can't change our sound. If you think about it, your physiognomy is done. Your body's finished the way it's built. It's not going to change. Your larynx isn't going to change. You can't change the color of your eyes. No more can you change the sound of your natural voice. You can impose a different sound that's not true on the voice. But our responsibility, or mine as a teacher, is not to build your voice or to develop your voice, but to help you find it by helping you recognize that you're looking for it in the wrong places. And so there are two things that my teacher, Jane Randolph, back in the 90s, said to me that set me in a different direction when I went into her studio. First thing was, don't open your throat. And the second was, don't use air. Now, if there are two things that we've all heard in choirs and from voice teachers too, it's open your throat and send air through the voice to keep it free and floating. Well, nothing could be more detrimental to the natural function of the voice than imposing these conscious manipulations upon it. So, what is the singing throat? Lamperti, who was a pedagogue in the late 19th, early 20th centuries, wrote the following: do not yawn. The open throat is the normal speaking throat. So, I don't know exactly when the notion about opening the throat, or the mouth for that matter, came along, but it has provided a great deal of work for me. Because of course when you pull the throat open, you automatically tighten it. So if I make a sound with the throat pulled open, I get this, oh! And then of course it sounds artificially dark and hooty. Then I have to artificially brighten it by placing it in the mask. Oh! So you have this incredibly manufactured and tight sound that will, of course, not demonstrate flexibility, beauty, or range. But if I leave my throat right where I speak, then I say, hello, John, hello, John, hello, John! Same throat, no difference, I do not open it. And so it's been the work of my life to figure out how to sing more easily or more beautifully, but both of those come, of course, by, first of all, not doing anything extraordinary. Of course, in order not to do something special like that, we have to let go of our attachments to outcome. If you're concerned about the result, you're going to be tight. And of course, the ego is always concerned about how we sound and how we appear, because its job as our primary survival mechanism is to make sure we look good so that we can garner environmental support, and then the food keeps coming in. We'll be paid and taken care of. So the ego's only concern is our physical survival. It doesn't really care about our spiritual state or our, peace of mind. But we find that any concern about outcome in singing, and this is where we get toward, how shall we say, the gospel and Zen. Any concern about oneself and one's production of sound is going to sabotage whatever technique you might have developed. And so in the end, the work becomes learning not to work, striving not to strive. It's very enigmatic until you experience it. But if one can let go of one's attachments to the result, then spontaneously the body can function freely, beautifully, flexibly. And so it effectively is a restorative. Folks who come in, many times folks come in when they're older, 70 years old, 75, even 80, or in their late 60s, because their range has gotten too small and they feel limited. And they think it's age. But of course, it's not generally age. It's because the attention that they sing with has increased over time. And the more they manipulate, the more tension there is, and so forth. So they're actually creating the very problem they're trying to solve by adding on, all these notions about manipulating. And so by shedding all of that and finding the natural throat and letting the sound flow, not by blowing, but by conceptually moving it, we find that the range comes back. And many times people find their true voice for the first time, even when they're 70, 75 years old, because they've always imposed something on it. So there's a lot more to talk about in this area, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I know it's probably going to get some responses in protest, but all I can say is that after 42 years of working on it, I've figured something out about singing. You can't figure it out. So if you stop trying, you'll see. Thank you for spending this moment with me, and I wish you well until next time.